You are now flocking with the unruly geese.
Well, Luke, I don't know if you saw this, but The Mandalorian started its second season last Friday, and I actually just binged the entire first season for the first time over the weekend, so I'm all caught up as of about an hour ago. So
Nice.
I know we
What
wanted.
did you think?
Well, dude, I fucking loved it. I mean, I'd seen the first 3 episodes when they came out last year. I think for one reason or another, I fell off. I was moving down here to Austin and all that shit, but I fucking loved it then. I love it even more now with everything that happens at the end of season 1 with the boy, not the boy, the droid homeboy that has to sacrifice himself. Just all the dope shit that they kind of pulled together at the end of season 1 from a non-serialized show like this. I was really impressed with like how organic it felt when he went back through and like got together his crew, and it was obvious that homeboy Carl Weathers was gonna betray him, but like he didn't because they saved him. I don't know. It was really well done as a Star Wars thing. It was really well done as a Western. And so, yeah, sorry. That was supposed to be quick thoughts. Give me your quick thoughts.
The first episode of this season 2 has really reiterated to me that this is the show that Disney Plus is basing its entire platform off of. This is its prominent new show, and I think it holds up to it. I wish Disney Plus could put out some other better, like above average shows, but I think for the flagship show of a streaming service, it does Disney Plus justice.
No, 100%. And I think, look at it this way. This is Disney Plus's, I can't remember which one came first, but this is Disney Plus's The Wire or Disney Plus's Sopranos. Like, they don't get Game of Thrones on HBO without first having those shows. And so, like, The Mandalorian is just the jumping off point. They've got, I think, half a dozen Marvel shows on the way. Like, I know we're trying to talk about Mandalorian, but if we're going to talk Disney Plus, I want to talk it real quick. They've got half a dozen Marvel Plus series on the way, 2 in the can already with the Falcon series and WandaVision, on top of like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. There's even whispers that they're going to bring back the OG Netflix shows for Marvel, like the Punisher and Daredevil shows. So like, I agree. It's it's incredible. It's reiterated to me that it is the flagship show here, but they can only go up from here, especially with the fucking stable of content that Disney owns. There's no end to what they can put out.
True. And the other thing I like that you touched on is that this is really reiterating that original thing Star Wars did when it first came out, as it reinvents the Western. And this nearly just leans all the way into the Western. In this first episode of season 2, spoiler warning, we saw the Mandalorian go into a outpost on Mos Eisley and solve some shit that was going on there. And it
and then he
literally
went out to
felt like
it was
a
like
Star Wars Western.
Yeah, he like showed up. Oh,
Mos
it did.
Pelga
I'm
or
sorry.
something.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking about. I really like that they brought back that the mechanic from the first season in Mos Eisley who
Yeah,
fell
Amy
in love with
Sedaris.
Baby Yoda. Yes, I knew I recognized her. Oh, thank God. Okay.
Princess Carolyn, yeah.
Yeah, but
I can never forget that voice now, which I forgot, or I didn't recognize Timothy Oliphant at first, and even had to IMDb him. How do you like Timothy's cameo?
Oh, bro, that gray, that beard, what a man. I mean, my thing with Timmy Oliphant is like he's an incredible actor in his own right. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that he basically reignited everyone's love for westerns in the 21st century with Justified and our boy Walty Goggins. Like, just the on a meta level, the casting of bringing him in to play the gunslinger or to play the marshal, not the gunslinger, but also to first make us think that he's Boba Fett. And like at first I was real hyped, so I was like, yo, are they about to make Boba Fett Timothy Olyphant? I'm pretty sure he was originally a New Zealand dude or a Pacific Islander from that part of the world. But you know what? Timothy Olyphant, become
He's
Boba
from
Fett all
Hawaii.
day.
That's an island. In
Is
the
he really?
Pacific. Yeah, Honolulu.
Wow. He gives off Hawaii vibes, but I just would not have. Like, just because you
does.
only ever see him as, like, a lone gunslinger. But, no, he does, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's
even
him
in-
and Tua are the coolest things to come out of Hawaii in the past 30 years.
Dude, even when he's a hard ass and stuff, he still just seems super chill and laid back. It's like, you got island vibes, brother.
Yeah, he can be so subtly menacing too. Like in that first scene where him and the Mandalorian were about to duke it out, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
Timothy Olyphant is being nice as shit and is still about to duel Mando, and he has a chance, it looks like. But
I don't know about
glad
all
it
that.
didn't come.
I'm glad it didn't come to it either.
Let me define has a chance against the Mando. He would have lasted more than a minute.
That's fair. I mean, he is the, like, lone gunslinger protecting that town. But, no, yeah, so back to the Western stuff. That brings up, like, I agree. Obviously, the first season was Western stuff all over the place, but it definitely skewed more towards the space part of the phrase space Western. I agree with you that this one really steers hard into the Western angle because it literally is just, like, there's very few. They're riding wampas, like they're only on speeder bikes for like 0.2 seconds. Otherwise, they're basically using Tatooine dynamite. Like it really has the feel. Like there's no space travel outside of him getting there, obviously. And so it literally is like change those speeder bikes to horses and replace everybody, like just change everybody's clothing. And this is an episode of any 50s, 60s Western TV show. And
Yeah,
I really like that.
I totally agree. I think this is our generation's or this century's version of the Lone Ranger. First, there's obviously the mask parallel that we can never really see the Lone Ranger's face. We can't see Mandalorian's face. There's that whole thing. There's the sidekick angle. Lone Ranger had Tonto. The Mandalorian has little Baby Yoda. Obviously, Tonto was a little more helpful than Baby Yoda, but
Also
in its
maybe a
own
little bit more
right-
problematic.
True. But in its own right, the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda just go together, and it looks weird to see them without each other. It has
does.
that duo of they're just traveling throughout the universe, looking for.
Dude,
looking for
I
a place
thought
to go home.
I love it. I love that dynamic, and I'm torn because, like, the beginning of this episode, for example, when they go question that dude at the boxing match or whatever that was, and Baby Yoda disappears for a little bit while that dude's running away, I was like, yo, we're about to see Baby Yoda pull some bounty hunter shit and, like, maybe not tackle and kill this dude, but, like, use the Force to keep him from running, like, hold him in place for Mando to question
yeah.
or something like that. And so we didn't get that, obviously. I mean, he's still a fucking baby, but, like, ultimately, why I'm torn, let me get to the point of what I brought up, was I want to see a time jump so that we can see Baby Yoda as just not too much older, but like think of like baby Groot to teenage Groot. There's
Right.
definitely an amount of responsibility that Groot took upon himself as being part of the team once he became teenage Groot. I want to see
Because-
teenage Yoda running around with a little Mandalorian helmet on with his ears sticking out of it, helping our boy figure his shit out.
Because every single episode, Baby Yoda stresses the fuck out of me somehow. Last time I thought I like how this season is more or less anthology. I like how even last season too, there were really only 2 or 3 episodes that really drive the plot of this show forward.
Yeah.
Which is another way I think this can be like our generation's The Lone Ranger series, as they could easily draw this out 8-10 years, and you can just turn on any episode, especially these standalone episodes, and watch them, and that's fine.
100%. Yeah. Like to
But-
spin it back to Timothy Oliphant real quick. Like while you bring up that, the Lone Ranger just aspect of it all, he can also be played by someone else entirely. Like not only by a different person under the mask, but just like for example in this episode when he being our Mandalorian, when he jumps into the crate dragon's mouth after telling Homeboy to take care of the baby, I was like, oh, I would be really surprised if they did it, but also it'd be pretty fucking cool if they just started like shuffling the Mandalorian that we're following, and so then Timothy Oliphant takes on Mando's quest if he had died inside the crate dragon, like, and so there's even ways to Pedro Pascal gets done with the series after 7 seasons, let's say, and Disney's like, fuck that, man, we're gonna keep making it, but bring back Timothy, just he's wearing Boba Fett's armor. Or fucking Boba Fett is in this episode. Oh, man. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll let you finish
If
your
only
theory,
it didn't
though.
get ate by a Snorlax or whatever.
Dude, he's
Sarlacc.
in the episode. He's in the episode.
Who?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett died.
Boba Fett is at the very end of the episode. You sound like a fool right now.
Ooh.
No,
I may need to go back and watch.
it's the little button scene when Mando is he's either walking back with the child or he's like taking the speeder bike. Yeah, no, he's taking the speeder back with the child and that big hunk of meat that they had on the back of it, and it shows them going across the wasteland. And then that
Is this a
random
post credit?
dude- No, it was right at the very end. Like, I mean, you can look it up right now, but I'm gonna explain it to you. But then this bald dude, we see him silhouetted. He's wearing like dark robes, and he has these weird weapons on his back. Not
Oh,
weird weapons.
I
they're
didn't think
sandbag
that
weapons.
was Boba though.
Look up the actor. It's the
Oh, is it the same dude from the OG?
it's Django. It's the actor
Gotcha.
that played Django and all the clones. So like at first I was like, oh, that's Commander Cody, and then I like thought for a second. I was like, oh wait, Boba Fett would look like his father, so that's probably just Boba Fett. Anyway,
But,
I derailed
yeah.
your Lone Ranger
Good.
theory.
No, I was going to pivot that into saying that one of the great things about the show as well, because there's only 2 or 3 of the 8 episodes a season that really matter, especially in those first 8 minutes of an episode, you really don't know which one it's going to be. So I was fully expecting them to go back into, oh, they're on the run, oh, Giancarlo is about to show up and darksaber the shit out of him, and who knows what's going to happen, especially when they were toying with Baby Yoda being not by the Mandalorian and the Mandalorian not being aware of where he was. I thought we were just going to jump right back into that storyline, but I like that they broke up that pace.
Yeah, no,
Also-
also, like I had the same thought, especially like when we found out they were going back to Tatooine and stuff like that. But what were we gonna say?
Also, I really, really loved the visual aspect of this show. Their budget per episode is $15 million, and they milked that budget for all it's worth, and it really paid off. With where we are with HD televisions right now, and wow, it looked like when you go to a store and you're like, wow, that picture looks beautiful, and then you take your TV home and it never looks as good as it does. I was like, I'm surprised this looks as good as on this screen on my couch that I'm watching.
Dude, it's so beautiful. What really does it for me is the practical effects. Like, yes, and this is what I've talked to like people when I watch it with them. I talk to them about like some of the CG in it is kind of questionable, simply because I think of the time it takes or like the money it takes. Like one of those variables is off, but like the CG isn't like always Marvel level CG, like the most realistic looking thing, but it is really detailed and really well done, and you can tell there's a lot of care put into it. And so that tells me that they're spending even more time. I mean, just watching it, you can tell this, but they're spending even more time, money, and really care on the physical effects, on the fucking like 15 stormtrooper costumes. Like this goes back to season 1, but like the 15 to 20 real stormtrooper costumes, all the real costuming, they rebuilt that entire sections of like they're walking through physical sets. It's just also, while we're talking about this, just for like comparison's sake, Game of Thrones, I don't have an exact quote on like the first couple of seasons. I see the earlier seasons cost $6 million to start, and that's an episode. Season 6 they got up to $10 million an episode, Battle of the Bastards flexed up a little bit that year, and then that kind of became the norm, and the last 2 seasons were both 15 million an episode. And so it begs the question, what the fuck is going to happen if this gets to a season 7? Disney has fuck you money. Are they going to ramp this shit up to like $30-40 million episode budgets?
Again, this is the flagship show of this streaming platform.
And they did say, we talked about this on that last pod, they did say they have refocused their entire like entertainment business on streaming, as much as they still have that theatrical aspect. Like, if that's where their focus is, they may be ready to spend some money. So, I mean, if we double it, 30 million an episode for 8 episodes is 240 million. That's still less than what you're going to pay for most blockbuster Hollywood movies, or like not blockbuster, but for like the tentpole shit they're releasing. Can you imagine what this show will look like if it gets to like a $20-30 million with it already looking this good? That's insane.
And which especially when we get to those 7 or 8 seasons, I don't see this series ending without some sort of spectacular gunfight where the Mandalorian ultimately dies.
100%.
And just thinking about how spectacular they can make that, not even knowing what the context of that final scene will be. Oh, I already know that's going to be a Battle of the Bastards level production there.
God, I hope so.
But
I really hope.
What do you think the show is going to? Where do you think the show is going to go, though?
Well, short term, I think Mando ends up with the Darksaber by the end of this season, and I think that may be one of the big, not necessarily like reveals, but one of the big happenings, like one of the big shakeups, because it's originally, I don't want to get too much into it, I don't know a ton about it, but originally the Darksaber is a Mandalorian ceremonial weapon that's, to my understanding, which is very limited, so don't necessarily take this for 100% truth, but anyway, the Mandalorian leader, I think, would be in possession of that mostly, and we've seen it tracked throughout both the Clone Wars series. I know Darth Maul takes it for a little bit, and then it disappears, and then it shows back up in the Rebels series, when I think it's the Princess of Mandalore or something has it. A Mandalorian in the Rebels series is in possession of it, and that's the last time we see it, to my understanding, at least on screen. I think it may show up in one of the books, but anyway, that is before episode 4, and so I'm really interested to see where, at least that's an important weapon. It's a big weapon. It's similar to the Elder Wand, not quite as like the same power level, but as a status symbol, it is pretty important. So short term, I think Mando ends up with the Darksaber. Long term, I think it's going to be a tragedy. I agree with you. I think Mando dies. I think he dies at the hands of the First Order, because at the end of the day, that's what this show is building up. Is it's showing what happened after the Empire, how desperate people got, how shitty things got, and why the First Order was able to build back up their hold so quickly. That's what I would expect to come out of it at the end of everything, and more directly lead into episode 7, 8, and 9. Though those don't really deserve anything to bolster their shitty ass story. But
Star Wars made 3 more episodes.
Oh my god! See, I don't mind 7. It's fun. 8 is... I like 8. I've come around on it. It's wild, and it does some goofy shit that I hate, but it takes a lot of risks, and I respect the fuck out of it for that. I will never forgive episode 9, though, for just undoing all of that and, playing bullshit fan service, which didn't even play out as fan service for anyone other than, children. And I know these movies are made for children, but come on, man. That's just... Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about the Mandalorian. I think Mando gets the Darksaber. I think we see the First Order really take hold, and ultimately he dies at the hands of them. And then maybe Yoda is set up as some important figure in the Jedi moving forward. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of what we got in season 1, where it's really only 2 or 3 episodes driving this plot forward. I think Giancarlo's character is going to be in the background, and we're going to get a scene or 2 of him. like in random episodes, but I think it's going to be more of the same, more of just fully leaning into we're making a space western, and
Yeah.
I am so okay with that. I would watch it for 15 seasons.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't even bring up Giancarlo's character in my predictions, but just to clarify, I don't think him losing the Darksaber implies that he dies. I actually think that we'll see a really strong juxtaposition of Giancarlo's character with the Mando, especially just the visual aspects of their characters that clash.
Nearly like a knight in shining
Exactly.
armor.
And I think that'll be, and they have history together from we learned in the first season because he knows his name and all that. So Giancarlo knows Mando's name, I should clarify. But I think that'll be interesting. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't know. Do you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think Giancarlo's too good of a villain to be wasted in this series. He's pretty much established himself as the Christoph Waltz of TV shows, with obviously Breaking Bad. I think he's headed there with The Boys. Although it does take a little bit off that punch because of the Newman reveal, but
He's working with Newman,
good.
bro. Back to Mando, though.
True. But he's too good of a villain for this show to completely waste him, and I have full confidence that they will not. So I'm really excited to see where they go with this under the confines that they can't go as dark as Breaking Bad or as The Boys, but that dude knows how to play.
Dude, well, you're right. And before we end this, I don't have anything else really constructive to add, but when you say they can't be as dark or as violent as The Boys, there's an episode of The Boys where they're crawling around in a whale carcass, and then the sand people in this episode are literally digging around in the bloody remains. I was sitting there shocked. Like, I know it's TV 14, but I was still like, Disney? I know this isn't human or even real, but like I was impressed and I was shocked that they showed such a violent, bloody scene. Well, Luke, as you know, the NBA offseason is now in full swing. There's some whispers that we might get an opening day at Christmas. We might get an opening day mid-January, maybe even February or March. I don't know. That's not what we're here to talk about because I want to ask you a question. That question is, are the best players in the NBA taking full advantage of their athletic ability?
That's a great question. It's always said that NBA players are the most versatile athletes, so I think this is a pretty important question. We've had athletes like Rico Gathers from Baylor, played basketball, took them to like a Sweet 16, I think, and then he played like 4 years at tight end for the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, dang, I forgot about that. And before we get into this, I do want to preface it as these players are doing fucking fantastic in the NBA. We're not saying they're failing by any means. Like, we're just judging them based on their God-given athletic ability. And there's some things that just don't translate in basketball, or there's some things that would translate better in football or bowling.
God damn it, it would be so cool to see LeBron James in a Cowboys jersey lining up and blocking like Aaron Darnold or something.
God, I know it's a meme, but it would be terrifying. It would be absolutely terrifying. The dude is quick as hell. He's a freight train. He's wider than like two fridges stuck next to each other. And he's got hands for days. Oh, shit. No, can you imagine? Yo. Okay, so imagine a trick play where it's the wide receiver who will like pitch it downfield. You know, like after handing it off to the tight end or to the quarterback.
Oh, the flea flicker.
Yeah, the flea flicker. Thank you. But instead, it's with the tight end, and that tight end is LeBron.
I would not like to see 6'9", 250 pounds running after me
Just fucking
on a football field. But
Just fucking. Oh, he's so big. He's so quick.
But he would be a phenomenal tight end. So, what other players
not only can he
would be good in other sports? No.
Well, first up, let's go with baby LeBron, Ben Simmons. What do you think he'd be good at?
He doesn't strike me as the smartest dude In fact,
I'd agree with that assessment.
didn't he like drop out of LSU after like 4 months of college because they weren't gonna make the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, college for him was always kind of more of a I can't think of the word. It was always just kind of going through the motions because he coming out of high school, he had the talent to go to the NBA, and he would. I don't think he even showed up for his classes by some of the reports I read. Like you said, they didn't get into the tournament, and then he just bailed on school before even finishing his first year, maybe his first semester. I don't want to like put that on him if he did, but I agree. It's not like he would have been better served going into any academic fields, and it seems like if he chose another sport that would require him to stay in school longer, that would definitely be a hindrance to his championship potential. And so
obviously baseball and football are out.
Yeah, baseball, football. I mean, even hockey, he just doesn't really have the frame for that. He's kind of weird for soccer. But this is the 21st century, Luke, and I think we have an obvious option here. Because doesn't he stream?
I think he does. Yeah. He would be great in esports.
Yeah, I don't know, like, positions where to put him. Point guard on an esports shooter team? Is that what they call it?
League of Legends or some shit like that?
Yeah, he'd hold that middle lane down, bro. I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
And he could recruit old Devin Booker.
Bruh. And they could...
I think he's a gamer too.
I like that. Where you think Luka Doncic could go?
See, I thought a lot about this, and no disrespect, but as a Dallas Mavericks fan, Luka seems like he just doesn't do a ton of pre-prep. Now, he may do like film, and he obviously practices, but it doesn't seem like he's necessarily locked in 100%, championship or bust every season. He kind of likes to be go with the flow, lackadaisical, chill. Seems like everyone in the league tends to get along with him. He's just kind of like shooting the shit, talking the shit. Seems like a really charismatic guy.
Seems like baseball would fit him really well then, because he could just, get the sign in and know what to do for that batter, and would also be...
So you think he's a pitcher?
What?
You think he's a pitcher in baseball?
No, he's DH, for sure. Only a DH.
He's not even in the field?
Like, he's the guy that plays, like, left field every 5 games just to...
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Well, what do you think he's going to play?
My boy's a shortstop all day.
Think he's got quick enough hands for that?
Dude, that is the dumbest thing I've heard anyone say about Luka. Yes, I think he has quick enough hands for that. What do you mean?
But
see, my one thing with him is I don't think my one, because he has the reaction time, like the way he makes decisions in basketball games tells me that he would be able to have the reaction time to catch the balls, to at least see the ball coming at him and hit it. My one worry with him is that he doesn't have the frame to crank it. I worry about how much power he can put behind the bat, and so that's why I don't think he would be like a born and bred DH without putting a lot of muscle.
Hear me out. He could be the Air Bud of a baseball team.
Just bunt it and sprint to first base.
And, I mean, he just gives off such golden retriever vibes to begin with. But who does not give off golden retriever vibes? Markieff Morris.
Sure you're gonna tell me. Fuck that guy. He does not. I hate that dude. Yeah. But let's see. What do you think he would be good at?
Probably hockey. Just skating around and being a dick, like shoving people into the wall, but doesn't really get a lot else done on the court. He's just the enforcer, the guy you put on the court to go sit in the box.
He already can't do shit in basketball except for hold people down. Is that him? The one that's always grabbing shoulders and like pulling people down when they try and go? Yeah. No. Hockey enforcer all day then. Fuck that guy. But hockey enforcer all day.
Anyway, but back to the premier players in the league. James Harden is a tough one to place.
I had the same thought because at first you think that he's best served in basketball, but you kind of dig in and, I mean, the dude's...
He's slim thick.
10 or 12 years into a career. He's slim thick. He's never been like cut like LeBron, Russ. Even KD got pretty in shape there for a while when he really wanted to win. Like James has shown an aversion to really putting his body in championship level shape. He also shows an aversion to anything outside of driving occasionally and shooting the long ball.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two things are pretty key.
He really likes ticky-tack things. He likes seeing how he can take advantage of the rules. He can make shots.
He can make shots from a distance, and he likes to have his gut hanging out.
He would probably rather
there's a
be
pretty strong
playing with a
candidate.
beer in his hand.
Oh, 100%. I think if he had a beer waiting on the sideline for him, he'd be sprinting off the court every single time. So beer, out of shape, and just likes to sink it from deep. That sounds like cornhole.
I think that sounds like cornhole.
I mean, that's still a televised sport, so that's pretty
He'd
big
still
deal.
be on ESPN, the Ocho. Yeah, I think that works well.
He wouldn't have to stay in shape for that, or he would have to stay in A shape for that, but not like good shape. Just got to have his shooting arm free and his beer arm free. Wow. And that's it.
So, cornhole.
Damn. Well, let's go with someone that's a little bit more
nuanced.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a really good way of putting it, actually. Next up on the list, we have Kawhi Leonard, who it's not really worth talking about his performance in the 2020 playoffs. Some shit happened. He fell apart. I still think he's great. You still think he's great?
There was a glitch in his robot version. The bug aired out.
Yeah, there was like the new update that came in pre-playoffs had a weird crash bug, and it just
those software developers that were
George.
working from home with COVID, the update just wasn't as good.
Yeah, no. But with all that in mind, he's a very analytical player. You know, especially as he's gotten further into his career here recently, he's really started to. Well, you can see it. Like the game has slowed down for him, and he started to control games and look at them. Well, this is going to be kind of like a doubling up here, but for lack of a better term, he looks at these games like a chess match, which that gives us our answer right there.
Something. I could see him being a professional. Imagine how scary it would be walking into a chess tournament and seeing Kawhi sitting across the table from you, because you know he's going to be there before you, and you know he's just going to be sitting menacing on the table.
Well, here's exactly. I don't even think it's menacing. I think so. Let's play out the scenario. You and I are going in to play chess. It's like a tournament Saturday morning. Probably they start at like early. Yeah, they start at probably like 8 a.m., 7 a.m. You get there with the janitor or with the person that's turning on the lights, and as you walk in, you just see Kawhi sitting there with his hands folded at the table, just staring straight ahead in the dark. He's been waiting all night. You
see the red light in the back of his skull. He pulls his charger out and then...
Yeah, he kind of like stretches a little bit, sits up, and he's just, oh, hello. And then he doesn't say anything else to you until he's beat you in record time and just says, oh, goodbye.
And at 6'7", he has to be the tallest person to ever play competitive chess in our fantasy world we're making up.
I mean, 100%. I mean, think about just... You might even have to, like, intimidate... Like, there's intimidation factors with his height. Not only, like, is he bigger, but you're going to have to get taller tables for him to fit his legs under.
So you're going to be, like, reaching up... And
so then you're going to be playing like a child.
Corner of the chessboard.
It's all mental with him. With him.
Another mental dude, Rondo. But I don't think chess is for him. Well, specifically chess.
He's too feisty. He likes fighting.
What about chess boxing?
Like, maybe not fighting. He likes...
I found that on YouTube the other day.
I don't think we need to go any further with this one. Anyone who doesn't understand why Rondo would be the perfect candidate for chess boxing shouldn't be having NBA opinions.
Couldn't agree with you more.
But speaking of NBA opinions, let's jump on to I'd say probably the biggest name that we've left out of this conversation so far, this year's MVP. That's Giannis, for those that didn't know. And
first thing we have to consider here is what sports would that name on the back of a jersey look good on? Baseball's not it.
Nah, especially because I guess Yankees don't usually have names on the back of their jerseys, so I'm just sounding like a jackass now. But, I mean, it's got to be something with where he has like a wider space. I mean, he's already like got wide shoulders, obviously, but even in basketball, it's already starting to wrap around the numbers a little bit. I think we already did LeBron football, but I think Giannis, we just got nailed on the position, but I think he's football too, simply based on the fact that his name will fit across the back of those pads.
So at 6'11", 242, he's a little slim. He's pretty skinny.
What's his wingspan?
Ooh.
What's his wingspan?
That's a good question.
Do you have that pulled up in front of you?
No.
I can look it up if you don't. I know it's long, so. But I asked that because I'm pretty sure, like, if we put him at wide receiver, he's quick, he's lanky, he's tall, and with a
7'3" wingspan.
Oh my god! So he puts his arm up above his head, and he's 10 feet tall without jumping. And if you've got a fucking Josh Norman, like 5'11" corner on you,
oh yeah,
like there's no
you just
way.
have to like
even with
put
a
your
jump,
hand against his chest, and he'll try and run and won't get anywhere.
yeah, you just keep him at arm's length with your 4-foot go-go gadget arm extender. Put your other one up in the air, snatch that ball. Also, let's talk about some of these. Imagine him laying out, like toes in bounds, and whoever his quarterback is has thrown it out of bounds by like 5 yards, but he's like,
What if that
Giannis is
became
gonna
the
get
new
it.
strategy? We're just gonna throw this ball to Giannis 5 yards out of bounds, and he's gonna.
Where no one else can get it. Yeah, exactly.
And at the goal line, or like anytime he has to dive across the end zone, he can dive from like the 7 and still make it.
Yeah, Giannis, you're fucked if Giannis gets within 10 yards because it's just a leap. Like one long stride or like one just, I'm going to stretch out and lay for the, like, the dude would be insane. He's so weirdly shaped, he'd be incredible. And his hands, I bet his hands could wrap all the way around a football in the same way like you and I wrap around like a thick handle for something, you know?
Oh, no doubt.
Because if you look at the way he holds the ball.
12-inch hands? Wow.
That's insane. That's insane.
What
yeah,
makes
100%
NFL
he's gonna be a wide
GMs cream their
receiver.
pants is if their quarterback has a 10-inch hand.
Jesus. Yeah, so imagine if your wide receiver has 12 inches of surface area to fucking snatch a ball out of the air, on top of being 6'11". I mean, the only thing is I don't want him running Oh, wait, but maybe you do want him running across the middle of the field. I was going to say he's got to be hitch routes and like post routes and go routes, but if he's crossing the middle of the field and he's 2 feet taller
Got a head full
than
of
anyone
steam.
else, that he's and he's just like has his arm up and the quarterback just puts it in his hand and he just holds the ball up above his head. Like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
So wide receiver hands down
Unstoppable.
for Giannis.
And put LeBron on his team, too.
Sounds like we need a quarterback for them, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Next, let's go.
Anyway.
We haven't really gone East Coast yet.
That's true. No, that's true.
about
Yeah,
the-
we've done a couple,
How about
but
the Phillies?
we did Ben. So let's talk.
yeah.
Let's talk Joel.
Oh, yeah. What is he good at?
Well, first up, I mean the Harden comparisons are immediate because the dude's been Pillsbury Doughboy for most of his career. I know he's had injury troubles, but like especially recently, he's really struggled to like stay in basketball shape. It seems like so. Definitely seems like he likes eating, like slacking off.
Those Hulu
and I mean, we
ads.
obviously know he likes talking shit. He does do those Hulu ads.
And he's always on a couch in them, and there's always food around.
That's a good point. So I mean, that's just doubles.
You know
That just
what?
reinforces that he loves food.
We should put him in the hot dog eating contest. If for no other reason, then imagine all the shit Joey Chestnut would take from Joel.
Joey Chestnut would probably fucking kill himself trying to beat Joel. Just keep stuffing his face with hot dogs until he explodes.
Yeah.
And then Joel... Oh, but Joel... So wait, do they have weight classes in hot dog eating contests? Because Joel's stomach is like the size of Joey Chestnut's like upper
That's a good
chest.
point.
Like, because Joel is so much bigger.
No, it's only
So-
gender. They do a male and a female one.
So, Joel, who is all of probably like 6'11". I should have done a little bit more
me
research
see.
on that.
Let
All right,
me
let's
see.
see.
But go on.
Anyway, so he is so he's 7 feet tall. Proportionally, his stomach has got to be maybe not significantly, but noticeably bigger than someone else, like a regular sized person. That's got to be an advantage in hot dog eating contests, right?
Oh, it can't not be. I mean, I don't think Joey Chestnut has a normal stomach by any means either. But the amount of work that Joel Embiid would have to stomach condition has got to be way less than any other professional eater.
Ooh. Oh, but I still see that brings up a good point. If he has to condition, Joel probably won't do it.
But he has to condition doing the thing he loves to do.
That's what I was gonna say. When the conditioning is literally sit there, just eat as many hot dogs as you can. He'd be like,
find a job you love, and
like,
you'll never work a day in your life.
God, dude, getting paid to eat like that, I'd love it.
I bet Kat would love that too.
Yeah, but see, Kat's very competition averse. Is the kind way of putting it.
Yeah, because remember, Jimmy
so
Butler was always like, yeah, Kat won't get it off his ass. He plays 2K till 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. 10 a.m.
You're totally right, and Jimmy did say that, but I didn't need Jimmy to tell me that to see that Kat don't got it. Like 3 years in, where he refused to step up and take over that team. Fuck that guy.
And he just always looks stoned.
Really, he does, and I've heard he likes swimming. I've seen pictures of him swimming a lot. I feel like so. Let's take away the competition of hot dog eating contests. Let's keep it simple.
He seems kind
take
of
away
like
the
an
shit talking.
Like he likes making things.
And so let's let him get a little high. Let's let him make things. Let's let him swim, and let's enroll him in underwater basket weaving.
Brilliant.
There's no competition. He can do that by himself. Yeah. He doesn't even have to talk to people.
Yeah,
that's really it.
I think that works great. But back to our football team, though. We have our tight end.
Ooh.
We have our wide receiver.
Yes.
Who should we put at quarterback?
Yes. Well,
CP3
there's a lot of good point guards in the league.
He could command an offense.
See, my problem is like point guard skills don't translate to quarterbacking skills necessarily, because a basketball pass is different than a football pass. So you're going to need someone who's ready to fight and die for their team, that's going to inspire men on the football team, and like just someone that guys will follow into battle. Exactly. Ridiculous court vision and like an engine that won't fucking quit.
I think we just mentioned
it. We saw that man in the NBA Finals. Yeah. Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that's got...
Which is...
Ooh.
See, and the thing is, like, a lot of people may think, since he's not a guard, or not a traditional guard, not a point man, he shouldn't be running an offense. But I'd argue that he is as much of a point man as you can be when you're a small forward playing in the systems that he's played in. He even grew up being a point guard, to my understanding. So he's got, like you said, he's got the court vision, he's got the intensity, he's got the drive, he's got the leadership skills because he fucking pulled together that little scrappy Miami team.
And he's 6'7", so he's built like Carson Wentz.
Oh, God. Can you imagine him on the run?
Like, put him in the
saying
Eagles
Michael
offense?
Vick earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Like a Michael Vick or like Jalen Hurts last year for OU. Just let him run downhill at people with a head full of steam.
Yeah, I think he's closer to a Jalen Hurts or a Blake Bell type, just bulldoze anyone that's in front of him. Rather than like a Michael Vick or a Kyler.
I know, I don't want to be
really
in front
quick
of him.
And shifty. Yeah, 100%. Can you imagine 6'7" with pads coming at you and his intensity and like cavalier attitude towards his own life in relation to winning?
For real. You know who else I don't want coming at me though? Raymond Felton. That dude could get some momentum behind him. Papa Ray.
Especially going downhill. All the love in the world to him. He was one of my favorite Thunder players when we had him, but he may be the roundest NBA player.
He's the most out of shape, in shape NBA player.
Dude, it's crazy. He should be the president of Thick Boy Nation.
No doubt.
And
with at least 3 C's.
Yeah. And speaking of C's, cheese starts with C.
And there's that competition in England every year where they just throw a wheel of cheese down a hill and let these people literally kill themselves going, falling and tripping down this hill. I would love to see Raymond Felton doing that.
100%. I want to see him cheese roll. The important thing to note is also it's not that they're chasing this wheel of cheese down the hill on their feet. They literally just roll down the hill. And his low center of gravity, low center of mass, his small stature, and his roundness He's
He
getting
could
to that
just
hill faster
cartwheel
than
down.
anybody. Honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ray Felton, cheese
Yes.
rolling, 100%.
Simple physics, really. Now, let's go to someone we both love, though. The Brody.
All right. You want to talk Russ? Well, we've done a lot of football. I've always thought he would be a good wide receiver, a good cornerback, a fucking amazing linebacker. But we've done a lot of football.
The fact
and I feel
with
like
Russ is, whatever we're gonna put him in, he's gonna give it his all. He's athletic as all get out, so he's not gonna be bad at the sport. So we need to find something that really leverages that killer instinct he has.
Well, not only that, but to a certain extent, if you look at his career, I feel like though he is a team player, his true ability and true killer mentality has been held back in one way or another by the teams he's been on. So he might be better served in a sport that focuses on individuality overall. And
so we got golf.
I'll say it this way. I don't want him to. Yeah, we got golf. We got. Yeah, but golf, that's not.
He's not golfing.
Tiger was the most intense golfer that we saw, and he wasn't even all that intense comparatively, to other.
Don't get me wrong.
sports.
I would love to see a Russ long putt celebration.
It just doesn't feel right. It still feels like he's wasting part of it because loves to fucking fight and scrap and will murder somebody on a basketball court. Basically, has all the qualities of someone that you don't want to be locked in a cage with. So I think we should start locking people in cages with him in the UFC.
Oh. Someone might literally die.
I think a lot of people would, man. So imagine Russ's just his physique on top of 15 years of MMA experience rather than basketball experience. I think that, and he's so quick, that's fucking terrifying, dude. He's what? He's 6'5", 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3" sounds right. Let's see.
Yeah, so he's 6'3", so he's got the height, and his
6'3", 200.
Man, dude, no, hands down, his wingspan is 6'8", so he can fight other dudes at 6'3" and be 5 inches further from them because on average the wingspans will line up with the heights, and he has that can be a pretty significant reach advantage. That's dirty.
I might actually watch UFC.
Dude, just imagine his walkout too. How terrifying. Also, how terrifying it'd be to be the other guy in the cage with him. They're yeah, we're gonna lock the door now. You're no, no thanks. I'd like to forfeit.
Yeah, just watching him. I think he would always be the first one in the ring. And when the guy walked out, he would just sit there in the middle of the ring with his arms crossed, staring dead in the eyes of the dude walking out to face him. And you would probably see that guy piss his pants.
God, dude, that'd be so terrifying. You know what wouldn't be terrifying, though, is whatever Steph Curry decides to do.
True.
And
well, whatever we give him, it's got to barely even be a sport. He can't play football. He'll explode on the field if he gets hit.
Yes. See, that's why he maybe could be a Beasley style slot receiver, but then I start thinking just a little bit longer about that. I'm nah, he's too little, too fragile. He wouldn't have made it 3 years in because in the NBA his ankles and knees were exploding. So that wouldn't have worked out in the NFL.
Maybe bowling, he seems he seems like he would enjoy a bowling shirt and
yeah, he does. He's pretty cheesy like that. I don't know. I think he's definitely in the Russ camp of something, maybe not held back by his team, but something, he deserves something more individual. So, bowling like we were talking about, UFC, but nah. I mean, no. 100% no. That good Christian man? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in a few golf tournaments, though, hasn't he? He was in that one with
he's been in at least a couple
Peyton.
pro-ams.
He's pretty fucking good at golf, too, I think.
I think he even has a golf sponsorship. So I think we got to go golf then.
Yeah, 100. I think we've answered our question before we even got here. So, golf 100. I mean, the dude, I've heard people say it where they wouldn't be surprised if when he retired from the NBA, if he went on tour with the PGA. He's apparently that good.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
That'd be cool.
But
it'd be cool. I want to take this little moment to take a tangent. It'd be cool to see golf turn into that. Not necessarily like degrade the league or the game's status, but it'd be cool to see pro athletes who are past their athletic prime in other sports take that mindset and that competitive and like that fan base to golf.
That would be so much
And so we
fun.
could see like Russell Wilson, LeBron, Steph, and like Derek Jeter in a golf tournament in the PGA one weekend, on top of like Phil, Tiger, and Rory. That'd be pretty dope. But
yeah.
let's get. We can.
I think there
I'm
should
earmark
just be a
that, I want to talk
pro-am
more about that.
aspect to every golf tournament, even the Masters.
Or even
I'd
just
watch
like a pro-am sponsored, like an NBA sponsored pro-am golf tournament.
Yeah.
In the off season.
But like multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. Anyway, well, we brought up Curry. Him and Clay obviously weren't all-stars this year because of their injuries and the Warriors. And, Clay, he really I feel like he deserves a break, man. He's always running around for that team. He's always playing defense on usually against the best guard, the best wing if he's shorter. And, Clay said himself, all he really wants to do is hang out with his dog, Rocco. And
He does
it's
always
obvious that he
look
likes
stoned.
weed. Exactly. So we need to find something that's pretty chill, that he can take advantage of his quick hands and his fast feet, as well as like his pinpoint accuracy. And one that he can probably like be stoned most of the way through.
Yeah. He seems like a guy that likes to be cold. Like he looks good in like a jacket and pants.
Yeah, he does.
What about curling? His hair matches.
I think that's perfect. I mean, the dude can drain it, so he can hit that bullseye or special circle in the middle that is called something other than a bullseye in curling. I don't know how curling works. But also, like, he can just get super stoned, show up, and be like, nah, I'm not going to throw the rock today, man. I'm just going to sweep.
Yeah.
And he uses his fast feet and his quick hands and just gets high as hell and just like, just sweeps the fuck out of that ice.
And
bro.
just imagine when he does, like, do the rock, the form, the grace he would have as he, like, slides down it with his foot, like, cocked out behind him.
That's what I'm saying. My guy strikes me as somewhat of a renaissance man, and I think he would truly devote himself to perfecting the form of curling and see it as an art form, an extension of his like self-expression. So I agree 100% that it's got to be curling.
Well, I think we've talked about most the big names in the NBA, except for one.
Yeah, there's one pretty important one that we missed out on. I noticed about halfway through.
Kevin Durant.
I don't care to invoke his name, but yeah, there we go. Kevin Durant.
The snake.
I
First of
mean-
all, our obligatory, fuck this dude.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I mean, I'm thinking like, everything we've gone through, I'm sure he would do fine at golf, curling, even football because he's tall and lanky, but he seems so fragile for football.
And both physically and mentally. I don't know if he could take the shit that football players will talk.
Exactly. See, NBA stars is exalted the right word, or exalted a lot more often than any other league, I feel like. Like Aaron Judge, for example, Mike Trout are both supposedly two faces of the MLB. We both never hear about them and only hear about them when people are talking shit on how we never hear about them. So I don't know if he could stand not being in the spotlight there. I agree with you. I don't think he could take the football pressure of like just the way those games are just viewed differently. The fans will turn on you in a second, whereas the NBA fans will give you like the benefit of the doubt for an off night or things like that.
And he's from DC, so if he played football, he'd probably want to play for the football team.
I mean, honestly, I think he's perfectly suited for basketball, but if he, at least athletically, I think he's perfectly suited for basketball. The only other thing I could really see him doing is being like some kind of tax specialist with crazy high anxiety in downtown NYC. But I'm talking like H&R Block at best.
Oh, yeah. Like, definitely has a trashy Coke dealer that he buys an 8-ball off of every week, and Matthew McConaughey.
Exactly. And he's betting, like, just putting shitty bets on shitty games and losing all of them. And
Thinks
then
he
his
knows
anxiety gets worse
everything
because of
about horse
that.
racing.
And it's just, yeah.
Probably can't even-
I think basketball is where he's supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, I don't think anything else would work out for him.
I started thinking baseball because like he could catch the ball, but again, like I worry if he gets hit with a ball on the arm, or if
It shatters
he gets
arm.
called a name from the crowd because he's so much closer to the crowd. At least, kind of. But you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got for these NBA players. We covered most of them.
I'm a head south then.
All right, brother. Wings up.